and fossils. This is what we'll see. Okay. Hmm. So history of Earth. So scientists have predicted that Earth formed along with the solar system around 4.6 billion years ago. And um, so basically, the geological time scale, it acts as a calendar for Earth's history, dividing it into units based on fossils record. So the scale is categorized into different eras, periods. Okay, so like um, the humans in this era, humans and large mammals and modern birds, these these were there. And then in next era, mid one, you can see dinosaur, early birds, small mammals were there. And 4.6 billion years ago, early reptiles, amphibian, fish, they were there, right? So then yeah, this is the oldest one. From here you can see fishes and tiny. mm, yeah, like this. Yeah, 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 exactly. Yes. um in ice age, yeah. um a threat for human. um so there was actually uh, for example, like cold flood, dangerous predators were there. Okay. And um, like lions, bears. No, not extinct. But there were threats because now we have safe home and everything. In that period of time they used to live like in forest and right. So that's why. Next is plate tectonics and rock cycle. So plate tectonic is widely accepted scientific theory, and according to this theory, the Earth outer layer, which is lithosphere, is divided into several large tectonic plates. And these plates, they move very slowly over time, and their interaction are responsible for creating major landforms. Okay, like mountains, volcanoes. And the connection to they have a connection to rock cycle, like tectonic activities is the primary driver for creating igneous rock, which are formed from cooling magma or rock. Not rock, sorry, from cooling magma or lava. Okay. And these rocks, they are the starting point or basis for the rest of the rock cycle. Which one? Igneous. And the speed at which plates move, um, it determines how quickly the three main types of rock. What are they? Can you name three main types of rock? Very good. So the speed at which these plate moves, they determine how quickly these three types of rock are produced or destroyed. Okay. So Yeah, and these are the three types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. And they, like igneous formation, they are created through solidification of magma or lava when it solidify. And their characteristics is like these rocks have no layers, and they are the hardest of all type of rocks. An example is intrusive rock, which result from the slow cooling of magma underground. And then sedimentary rock, they are formed through the compaction of sediments over time, and they are distinctively layered, and generally they are easy to crumble. And a common type is clastic, which is formed from the compaction of broken fragments of rock. Next is metamorphic. They are produced through transformation of older rock due to heat and pressure. These may or may not have layers, and they are uh, harder than the rocks they originate from. And for example, foliated, which is like um, a type of metamorphic rock. Okay, so this is a rock cycle, and this is explaining how one type of rock is converted into another. Um, so basically, rock, yeah, um, for food, as a food, you mean? Um, okay, yeah, I think they do. Like some clays and soil, they, for example, birds, um, they basically they help grind seeds and grains in the you know yeah. And crocodile, it help digestion and help like yeah, exactly. And for digestion. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the this cycle is highlighting three primary category of rock and the forces that transform them. So if you see, start with sedimentary rock, for example, sandstone is a type of sedimentary rock. It is formed through erosion, deposition, and compression of pre-existing rocks, which are igneous rock. And then metamorphic rock, they are created when these existing rock are they are subjected to intense heat and pressure without fully melting. So these sedimentary rocks convert into metamorphic. And igneous rock, like granite, they are formed through the melting and crystallization of magma, or lava, or metamorphic rock. So basically, how they are interconnected, to sedimentary, any rock type like igneous or metamorphic, they can be broken down by erosion and they can compressed into sedimentary, right? And if you check metamorphic, both sedimentary and igneous, they can be transformed by heat and pressure into metamorphic. And igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks, they can melt into magma and then crystallize into igneous rock. So that's how they are interconnected. Did you get it? How these three types of rocks are interconnected? Okay, good. This is explaining tectonic plates as like according to this theory, the different types of landforms were formed because of the movement of these tectonic plates, right? So major plates like large section like North America, Pacific, um, Pacific plate, and African plates. So basically, these are the major plates. Then minor plates are like Arabian plate. This, so the green lines are indicating the edges. These green lines where plate meets, and these are the primary site for geological activity like earthquake, volcanic eruption, okay, mountain building like Himalayas at the and like in India, Himalayan mountain ranges there. So these are the primary site for these activities. Okay, then this is explaining the movement of tectonic plates. So these are tectonic plates, and on the left of the ocean, um, you can see it sliding beneath. This is a plate, and this process create deep ocean trench, and it leads to formation of volcanic mountain range. And then in the center, the plate pull apart. You can see here, allow magma to rise from the mantle, and this create new oceanic crust. And then this red area indicate molten rock which is called magma, and it rise towards the surface, fueling volcanic activity, right? And these white arrows are showing the convection current. So yeah, again this is explaining the rock cycle, and which is basically uh, help us to understand the continuous geological process that transform earth rocks from one type to another over million of years. So it is very slow process, and it take thousands and millions of years. So if we start with igneous rock, it is formed when molten rock cools and solidifies through crystallization of magma, right? So crystallization of magma is forming igneous. And then sedimentary rock, it is created when rocks at the surface they undergo weathering, um, and erosion, and these fragments are transport, and they are deposited as the sediment, and eventually they become the burial and compaction create sedimentary rock, right? The third type is metamorphic. They are formed when existing rocks they are buried deep underground and transformed by intense heat and pressure. So these are like mm, um, the process is called deformation and metamorphism. Deformation means when existing rock they are buried deep underground, and because of intense pressure and heat, they create metamorphic rock. So the cycle is completed when rocks melt back into magma. So this one again melt, and they back to magma, or they are brought back to the surface through uplift to begin weathering again. So that's how it creates a cycle. Okay, yeah. Next is fossil. So the remains or trace of ancient life that have been preserved by natural processes are known as fossils. It is a Latin word, and it means something dug up. Okay, and so fossils they serve as critical evidence for evolution, and they act as a window to the past that helps scientists to understand history and to predict future biological trends. So, and they aren't just bones, fossils include shells, they also include impression and exoskeleton, petrified wood, hair, even coal, right? All of them are fossils, it's not just bones. Then some of the earliest identified fossils include um, hematite tubes, and there are uh, other early organisms are also there, like tortugas. Then fossil formation. So basically, fossil represent the preserved remains of plants and animals, and um, when organisms die, they often become buried in sediments within sea, within lake or river, and soft body part decay rapidly, and hard part like bones or shells or teeth, they are replaced by mineral over a period of time, and they become hardened into rock. Okay, so remnants become saturated with minerals like silica or calcite. Eventually, they transform into stone, and these remains are typically fixed within sedimentary rock or sometimes volcanic ash. So most fossils they are found in sedimentary rocks. Okay, because these layers provide the necessary condition for burial and mineralization. Okay, yeah. Then these are the main four ways of fossil formation: petrification, compression, molds, and cast preserved remains. So petrification, um, okay, let's talk about this. Petrification occurs when mineral rich water seeps into the pores of organic tissue like bones or woods, and the mineral crystallize, and then it replaces the organic matter and it turn into a stone. Compression means like the leaves and feathers. This happens when organisms is flattened under intense pressure. Okay, molds and cast means when an organism dissolve or decay and it leave a hollow impression in the surrounding rock. And the last one is preserved remain. It is the rarest form of fossilization where actual organism is kept intact. This happens when a plant or animal is trapped and in like ice or something, and it prevent decay because of lack of bacteria and oxygen. Okay. um, so basically it is very rare actually, but when conditions are just right, like when basically plant I mean it can decay rapidly, but if there is no oxygen, no bacteria, then it can fossilize. Hmm. Okay, if you want to know about it, like um, I think you should research about it, or it is because if you go to the scientists who study about fossils, they can give you more better answers, and if you give it to them they will keep it in museum, I think so. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, this is showing fossil formation steps. First is sedimentation, sediment. Uh, so sediment burial is the first step. Like shortly after an animal dies, it is quickly buried by sediment like volcanic ash. It can be a mud, silt, anything. And this layer protect the bones from rotting or from being destroyed by scavengers. Second is layering. As more layer of sediment accumulate over it, you can see this is here. There are lots of layer of sediment over it, and what happens is minerals like silica from groundwater seep into the remains, and these minerals slowly replace the calcium phosphate in the bones and turn it into stone, and this is called petrification. Next is movement. Over million of years, the movement of plates. Plate means giant rock slabs that make up earth crust. They can lift up these rock layers, and it can bring deeply buried fossil closer to the surface. And after that, erosion like natural force because of rain, wind, um, it can wear away the layers, rock layers, and eventually this erosion or human activities like digging, it can, we can get we can discover the preserved remain, right? Hmm. So it is very rare actually, fossil formation. Like it's less than 10% of species that have ever lived, they become fossils. So most fossils they are found in areas where once underwater marine environment was there, as constant sedimentation make rapid, burial easier. So it is usually found in marine environment or okay. Yeah, so again this picture is showing the fossil formation. In the first one you can see it start from here. So a dinosaur leaves footprint in the soft mud near a body of water, and the dinosaur dies. Over time, soft tissues and flesh rot away, and only skeleton leaves behind. You can see here, and water level rises, and layer of sediments like sand and silt they quickly bury the bones and footprints and protect them from further decay or scavengers. And then accumulation over a vast period of time, a thick sequence of sediment would accumulate, and the intense pressure and minerals rich water gradually it will turn these bones into stone and fossilize them. And then geological shift and erosion, it will wear away the upper layer of rocks, and it can expose the fossil again. This is the fossil formation. Okay, can you try this? um, yeah, fossils. Okay, now significance of fossils, why they are important and all. Firstly, they are important um, because they are evidence of evolution, right? They act as an important tool to understand about history, and they um, like the scientific study of fossils and evolution of life is called paleontology, and scientists use fossils record to calculate geological time scale and to determine the age of rock, and they provide basically and they give us we can learn about ancient life forms, about the environment, climate that existed in the past. They also show evidence of how the earth's surface and geography have shifted over time. And basically geologists use fossils data to create the geological map and locate new mineral deposits. Okay, they help us to discover new mineral deposits. And these are the different types of fossils, the five type of fossils: body, molecular, trace, carbon, and pseudo fossils. So this body means they are most common type. They represent actual remain of an organism like teeth, bones. Molecular is just a biomarker like DNA. Or then carbon is uh, when an organism is buried and compressed, it live behind a thin film of carbon. And then trace is indirect evidence of past life, for example footprints or something. And pseudo fossils, they are not true but natural mineral pattern on rock that happen to look like remains. And then different types of basically dating rocks and fossils. Like I said, using fossils, scientists can find about the age of rocks and all. So scientists use fossils as direct evidence to study biological event of Earth history, and they use them to calculate age of rocks. Um, they they are basically the index fossils. They are also referred to as guide fossils or indicator fossil, and these fossils are found within the layer of sedimentary rock, and they serve as an index to a specific geological period and allow scientists to calculate age of rock in which they are found. Okay, like here dating rocks and fossils. Um, so how old this one is, like there is A, B, and C. So the green, this unknown fossil is found alongside the blue shell and the starfish. So look at that. If you look at the chart at the bottom, the blue shell lived during an older period, and as you can see, this is representing older, this is representing younger. So since all these fossils are in the same layer, the unknown fossil must be form that specific overlapping time period where these two index fossil coexisted. Like if you want to find the age of this, the others are all because they are in one group, so their other are also there. And the one which is found at the bottom, they are older, and the one which is closer to the surface or the top layer, they are the youngest. So index fossils are, these are fossils of organisms that lived for relatively short period. Okay, so by matching the type of fossil found in different layers, um, geologists they can determine that those layers were formed at roughly the same time, right? Suppose in this layer a fossil is formed, and what type of mineral is there, and that layer was formed at that time. This is what they can learn about. Then dating rocks and fossils. So because scientists make use of fossils to calculate age of rocks, and there are two types of dating, relative and absolute. Relative means what? It determines whether a rock, layer or fossil is older or younger than another. Relative means when we compare two or more rocks with each other. So we don't give exact specific age in case of relative dating. It is just comparison. Okay. So layers at the bottom they are older and layers at the top are younger. And absolute dating is when we provide a specific age in million years ago. Do you see MYA? 520 MYA means it is 520 million years ago. Okay, because it take millions of years to form, so this is the common unit for dating rocks. Okay, so yeah, so basically relative dating is used to find the sequence of event, like the bottom one is older, top one is younger. That's relative. Absolute give us exact value. For example, this rock is 495 million years ago old. So this is numerical dating or absolute dating. And when we say this one is younger than that, that's relative. Are you getting? Good. This is what I just taught you. Yeah, so younger are formed on the top and deeper layers are older. Um, so as you can see, the top one is youngest, the bottom one is oldest, right? Oldest, newest is at the top, right? Hmm. So can you identify the youngest and oldest fossil? Which one is youngest out of A, B, C, D? Hmm. Very good. Yeah. Try this. Very good. Next. Very good. Next. Granitis, igneous rock. Okay. Um, which one is limestone then? Limestone is, I think, it's sedimentary. Okay, limestone is sedimentary. Okay. And what about marble? Which one is marble? Which type of rock is marble? Yes. Okay. Good. What about sandstone? No, sandstone is sedimentary. Okay. Yeah. So what we started in this lesson, we started with the Earth history, right? And then what are